The global population is roughly 7 billion. Each and every one of those 7 billion is a member of the species Homo sapien, give or take a few reptile overlords. There are physical differences between races and ethnic groups in terms of bone structure, height, you get the point. But we're all anatomically, scientifically, from the same species. Yes, even Canadians. This is not how it always used to be. Homo sapien is the combination of two words. Homo, don't even, in Latin translates to human, or man. Sapien means wise, so we as a species are wise men. Good job, us. But we weren't the only men. It's only been within the last 40,000 years that anatomically modern humans have occupied this planet alone. Homo neanderthalensis survived in Western Eurasia for 300,000 years. Neanderthals have a pretty bad reputation. Prehistoric, big-browed, dumb brutes who can't even figure out how to make huts. They were just too stupid for their own good, before being brought to extinction by our obviously superior Homo sapien ancestors. We sit in our mammoth tusk ivory towers, chuckling at the Neanderthal. They're all gone. Now lost to history like every evolutionary dead end, like the dodo, or Fred. Well, check your privilege right there, bucko, and throw those preconceived notions out the window. Our common knowledge of the Neanderthal, and collective agreement on how they must have been, is actually pretty wrong. Neanderthals probably were not dopey idiots, at least any less than humans. It's still widely debated why Neanderthals went extinct. It could have been a gradual process for multiple reasons, yet it resulted in one thing: humans taking over. What if in an alternate timeline, Neanderthals somehow had not gone extinct? What if there were two separate species of humans on Earth interacting well into the agricultural age? Now Cody, this is completely unrealistic. They would have died anyway. Downvote. Yes, I know, Jimmy. This is lighthearted. Asking the what if for fun. You like fun, don't you, Jimmy? In this alternate timeline, Neanderthals simply don't go extinct. No matter how unlikely this sounds, no matter what realistically happened, Neanderthals just stay alive. In our timeline, they lived in primarily Europe, that wasn't covered in ice, down to the Middle East, and a bit of Central Asia. This is a vast area, but that doesn't mean it was densely populated. It's estimated Neanderthals had a population of 50,000 in the entire species. For the time, the global Homo sapien population could have been twice to 6 times more than that. In this alternate scenario, humans and Neanderthals don't interbreed. If they did, then after a few generations, the Neanderthal gene would just be bred out of existence, which is one viable possibility of how they went extinct in our timeline. You'd have half human, half Neanderthal children who, due to population, have children with humans, who have children with humans. See where I'm going with this? As more humans migrate out of Africa, Neanderthals are pushed back into cold, sparsely populated Europe. Civilization begins on the borders of their territory, in the Fertile Crescent in North Africa. Civilization or not, what matters is the interaction between these two species. Since humans have the number advantage, how do they perceive Neanderthals? Are Neanderthals close enough to humans just to be considered another race? Or are they so different that they'd be considered animals? This isn't too crazy. Keep in mind Aboriginals were considered fauna by the Australian government. Odds aren't in their best favor. If Neanderthals were still in Europe, Homo sapiens never come in. That means modern Europeans never exist. There's still Arabs, Africans, Asians, you get the point. But what is perceived as Europeans are stocky people with huge brows living on this cold peninsula. Since scientific categorization doesn't exist yet, they aren't considered a separate species. If anything, they're just considered savage men. As civilization grows, Neanderthals always are at a disadvantage. They'd always have a lower population. They'd always be driven out. And over thousands of years, as Middle East empires grow, they're pushed further and further north. On occasion, Neanderthals are probably used as slave labor, workhorses, just as any empire does with conquered people. I imagine people from Central Asia and the Middle East migrating up into an increasingly empty continent. There are no Germans or Italians or Brits. There are entirely new ethnic groups descended from Persians or Egyptians who wiped out the native Europeans, Neanderthals. The fate of this species would be like really any other minority group who was pushed from their land. Any population of them left is either bred out of existence or pushed so far up north they're completely out of mind. So what's the point of this? The question this scenario raises is how two different species of people interact in a modern setting. How would Homo sapiens treat Neanderthals who might have conversed and acted very much like us? Would society have split itself up and considered the other group a separate species? Could that even have happened? Or would our scientific ideas of what makes us human simply be altered to include them? This is simply one speculative scenario for fun. We'll never truly know what would have happened if Neanderthals had survived, but hey, it's interesting to theorize. This is Cody of Alternate History Hub.